guys, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Tom.
And we're in one of our favorite cities of Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and we decided we wanted to make a video to share some of our tips, tricks, and favorite things to do around the city here.
So we booked a flight on Southwest from Nashville using points. We have a bunch of different credit cards to get us points. We use some shopping portals to give us points on everyday purchases. We'll make a video on that later on. The first time that we visited Puerto Vallarta, we thought we were going to book an all-inclusive, which would have been a first for us. We like the idea of trying out an all-inclusive, but we're definitely not the all-inclusive type. But luckily, we decided not to do that. We booked a Airbnb in Miss Maloya, and so we needed a rental car to be able to get up to Miss Maloya.
So with staying in Miss Maloya, there are a lot of different zones of Puerto Vallarta. There's the airport where you fly in, which is surrounded by like the hotel zone, the cruise ship area. But then when you drive south, you really get into the heart of Puerto Vallarta, the romantic zone, the central area. And it's such a beautiful old town and city. It's such a big area to explore, and I feel like if we would have stayed in an all-inclusive, we would have done the city a disservice because we would have missed out on so much. Renting a car really allowed us to see all sorts of different sites and not be limited.
With City Rental Car, they also include all necessary insurance that Mexico requires. That's one thing to watch out for when you're booking a car for Mexico through a third-party company. A lot of times they show you the price that is super cheap. However, it doesn't include the necessary insurance. So you arrive on site, you think everything's cool, only to realize that you owe like $300 or $400 more in insurance that you think they're just trying to upsell you on, but it's a requirement for Mexico. Keep in mind that just because you have a credit card that has insurance, certain countries like Mexico may not be included in that car rental insurance.
So when you rent a car in other countries, don't drink and drive, be careful, pay attention to what's going on. It's so important. So as Tom said, the city car rental company will pick you up directly from the airport. If you decide not to rent a car, we still do recommend having your transportation pre-booked. There are so many people in the airport when you arrive in Puerto Vallarta that are going to try to help you arrange transportation, get a taxi, and it's really overwhelming. So when we got here the first time, we already had the city car rental people here to pick us up, and that was just amazing to be able to walk through the airport, not have to stop and talk to anybody to try to arrange things, and just get to our car rental to get to our Airbnb. So that made it super easy.
So when you arrive in Puerto Vallarta with a rental car, it could be a little challenging to find parking. The Airbnb that we booked this time didn't have parking. We were aware of that, but we were pretty confident from the last time that we visited that we were able to find parking. Luckily, when we arrived, we were able to park right in front of our Airbnb. If you have problems parking in Puerto Vallarta, you can always just go 1 or 2 streets away from the main road, and usually you'll be able to find parking right on the side of the street. The yellow markers on the side of the roads are no parking. Anything else is pretty much free game.
So one of the first things that we did when we got to Puerto Vallarta was walk along the Malecon. The Malecon is like their strip along the ocean, their boardwalk per se, and it's full of restaurants and vendors and just beautiful views. There's a little town square, and there are just tons of places to see along that strip.
One thing that we've learned from traveling is it's super important to dive deep into the local culture, and especially when it comes to food, on the first day. So we took advantage of that last year and did a food tour with a local company, and basically on the very first day they took us on a taco tour. It was a walking taco tour all through the streets, and it was only local places, no tourist spots, really just hidden gems. And what that did was it allowed us to have an extra 5 days after of knowing all the local spots to eat.
And with that tour, you really learn a lot about the city as well. It's not only the food, they offer tours about just the history, they offer breakfast tours, they offer dinner tours. There are so many different things that you can do. And one thing that we learned that was really interesting is that the tour that you do in the afternoon will have different tacos served than the tour that you take in the evening. In Puerto Vallarta, they have breakfast tacos and like lunch tacos, and then they have dinner tacos. So like you can't get fish tacos after 8 p.m. here. Found that out the hard way. But there are just so many things that you wouldn't know without having a guide that's local here to explain to you. So we highly recommend taking a food tour.
One thing to make sure you don't miss out on is all the little shops and crafts and sweets and everything else that you're going to pass as you're walking through the streets of Puerto Vallarta. And I would say when it comes to small shops, most of them don't take credit cards. So keep that in mind. If you go on the Malecon, just the local square, there's a ATM, a red ATM called Santander, and it's an HSBC bank. One little tip for you is When you put your debit card in to pull cash out, just as you do in any other country, it's gonna give you local currency. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your card in, put your PIN in, select how much money you wanna pull out, accept the ATM fee, and then decline the currency conversion. And what that'll do is it'll give you your own bank's currency conversion rate. We have Capital One, and the currency conversion rate is way better than what the local ATMs are here.
So while you're in Puerto Vallarta, obviously you're going to want to eat some amazing food. The food here is incredible. I think we come back 80% for the food. It's delicious to die for. So we're gonna link some of our favorite restaurants in it, like a Google map, so that you can see exactly where they're at. A lot of them are small, just local shops, and some of them are places that we saw on our food tour, some of them are places that we just found ourselves, but they are all so good. Make sure you try birria. Birria is amazing. Birria is one of their local tacos here. It is made with beef, and it is in a crispy shell, and you dunk it in some sauce, and then you eat it, and it's real good. Don't miss out on birria. El Campanario is another place that we really love. This was actually right across the street from where we stayed in our Airbnb, and I'll link the Airbnb where we stayed in too. This restaurant was the first stop on our first food tour that we did last year, and there are so many delicious breakfast tacos. I believe he said it's one of the oldest family-owned restaurants in Puerto Vallarta, and you can tell it's delicious, it's incredible. Everyone is so friendly and nice. We ate there on the food tour, and then 2 more times, I believe, last time, and then on the food tour this time, and then another time. So we love it.
One thing to make sure you don't miss out on is all the taco trucks and like the food stands and everything else that you're gonna find in Puerto Vallarta. One of our favorites is La Hormiga. It's basically in the middle of like 4 or 5 taco stands. You can get chicken tacos, you can get carne asada, you can get el pastor, you can get chorizo tacos, you can get quesadillas, super cheap prices. Food's made right in front of you, super fresh. So definitely recommend that. One hidden gem that you definitely don't want to miss out on is above the market near the river. It's called El Mercado Rio Quale. And basically you're just gonna go upstairs above the little market, and there's like 5 or 6 different independent, like
small family-owned restaurants, locally owned. The people that are there most times are all locals from what we saw when we visited, and it was amazing. The food was great, everyone was so friendly. Our 2-year-old was playing with the son of like the people that were cooking there, and it was just such a great experience. Yeah, so those were our favorite places to eat. We do have favorite dessert places, but we'll talk about those a little bit later. So other things to do that we really enjoy here are obviously going to the beach. This town is beautiful, warm, and sunny, and the beaches are amazing. Our favorite beach to visit is Miss Maloya Beach. It's a little bit south of Puerto Vallarta, but it's less crowded than the beaches in town.
It's a super local feel. You rarely see any tourists out there. There are a couple resorts where you'll see some tourists, but for the most part, it's a lot of locals. So they have a couple restaurants, they have like boat rentals, jet ski rentals. It's really just a private area that you can just go and relax. You can just park on the side of the road. There's no reason to go and get like a day pass at the resort. There are little shops that you can pick up like drinks or snacks while you're walking to the beach, but it's only like a 2-minute walk to the beach from where you're parking. So definitely a spot not to miss out on.
And another great beach is in Sayulita. So Sayulita is in a different state. It's about an hour drive from Puerto Vallarta, and it is a small beach town full of little shops, and it's like a little surf town almost, full of just beachside restaurants, tables, chairs, and umbrellas that you can rent. We rented one yesterday for 200 pesos for 2 hours because we weren't going to be there very long. So that translates to about $10. Not bad at all for having the shade, coverage from the sun. There's tons of things to do there, tons of great restaurants to eat at. Leave in the morning, get back in the afternoon, and it's a nice little day trip.
So one thing to keep in mind when using cash in Mexico is haggling. So we usually try to use our heads and haggle where it's necessary and kind of give grace where it's needed. So for instance, yesterday we were at the market and we came across this older lady that was making some paintings, and that was the last person that we were gonna haggle. We gave her actually more than what she was asking for the paintings. But then yesterday when we were at the beach, you know, the guy came up and he was asking if we wanted an umbrella rental. Because we have our parents and our 2-year-old with us, we definitely wanted to take advantage of that. And he came at us with 350 pesos. And so I offered 200 pesos and he came back with 300. And then I was like, nah, man, we're only looking for like 2 hours max. I was like, 200 pesos. And he kind of like rolled his eyes at me and he's like, all right, let's go. And then he walked us right to the umbrella. I handed 200 pesos. And 150 pesos really isn't that big of a deal. However, in some instances, they're gonna take advantage of you for being a tourist. So you definitely wanna push back where needed. That being said, when you see, you know, a business owner or somebody who's creating art, definitely use your discretion. You know, there's no reason to haggle somebody who's putting their time and effort into art or trying to sustain a business, especially during COVID. One thing that's great about Puerto Vallarta is, depending on the season that you're coming in, the whales come from Seattle and Portland all the way down to Puerto Vallarta, and they actually continue going down to Costa Rica. So that means that at any given point, you could be looking out into the ocean and see a whale jump out of the water. And it's pretty cool. We have been at Miss Maloya Beach walking along the trail and seen numerous whales without paying any money. But you can also take advantage of a whale watching tour where you'll take a boat out into the ocean and they'll drive you close to where the whales are and you can see them swimming around.
We love just seeing wildlife and seeing wildlife in their natural habitats. A lot of people come to like these coastal cities and they like pay a resort to swim with dolphins. Let's not. We prefer to go out in the ocean on a boat and see the wildlife in its natural habitats. We saw dolphins, we saw whales, we've seen sea turtles. Those tours are so amazing and just so much better for the environment, the ecosystem, the animals, than having them in captivity and swimming with them at a resort. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. All right, so to bring it all home, desserts. Our favorite sweets of the city. They're not few and far between, they're everywhere. So first things first, churros. This is our favorite dessert in the entire city. There is a stand and a man called the Churro Guy. You can look it up on Google Maps. He is there. He's there every night, I believe every night, until 9 p.m. from like 6 to 9 p.m. I'll put everything in the description. I wish I could share just the smell with you. I wish I could share it with you through this video because they are crunchy and light and airy and sweet and just delectable. You will want to bring them home with you. You will be there every night. We go every night when we're in Puerto Vallarta. Every single night that we're here, we go see the Churro Guy. Again, it's one of those things where we toss some extra pesos because he's literally out there busting his ass making churros in the heat over this pan of oil, but it's amazing. It's just wonderful.
They're 3 pesos each.
Yes, the price did just increase to 3 pesos.
Yep,
today.
From 2 pesos. And so we usually just go up and toss them 45 pesos and walk away fat and happy.
Yes.
So right around the corner from the Churro Guy, next to the taco stands, is a lady who also sells like pies and cakes.
So then if you keep going around the corner further, there's a little shop there that sells aguas frescas, ice cream, and paletas, which are Mexican popsicles, and they are so good. The freshest popsicles that you will ever taste, made with fresh fruit, and they're just in these bags. You can tell they're just so fresh when you eat them. Another thing that you can get there is aguas frescas, which is a fruit water. Tons of different flavors. Our favorite is like orange or pineapple. Tons of flavors to choose from, and they're all delicious. So make sure you get yourself some aguas frescas, some churros, and some paletas while you're in Puerto Vallarta.
Thanks for coming and watching our video. Make sure you give us a like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll be doing more videos all across the world.
Let us know what you want to see below in regards to points, booking, travel, Airbnbs, anything. We are happy to cover with you guys. So tell us what you want to see, and we'll be back soon. Peace.